Matthew Gardiner has been stood down as the president of the Northern Territory branch of the Labor Party, following reports that he's fighting in the Middle East. The well-known union official disappeared from the top end earlier this month. Our Darwin reporter Dan Borscher has been following the story.
The exact whereabouts of Matthew Gardiner continue to be unknown after he left the Northern Territory on the 19th of January. Sources say he travelled to the United Arab Emirates, where he was said to be visiting, but then travelled on independently from there to Syria, where it's believed he's joined Kurdish fighters against the Islamic State. The Australian Federal Police say they are aware of the matter and it's part of an ongoing investigation, and as a result they won't be commenting further. However, sources have told Sky News that they've been looking very closely at his social media profile, particularly on Facebook, and those people from that region that he's become friends with. Mr Gardiner was the head of the Labor Party in the NT. When news of the Australian Federal Police investigation broke, he was stood down by the executive, with his membership pending on the outcome of that AFP investigation. It's also understood that he recently stood down from his role as secretary of the United Voice, the hospitality union. However, his final role as an executive member on Unions NT continues to be unknown. Matthew Gardiner is 43 and served in Somalia in the 1990s with the Australian Army. It's believed to be as a combat engineer. There are around 90 Australians suspected to be fighting in this theatre of war. A spokesman for the Attorney General's Department says fighting in this region is illegal, and anyone who is found guilty could spend the rest of their life behind bars.
We just don't want to see Australians killed, regardless of whether they're well-intentioned or not. We don't want to see cowboys running off, participating in conflicts, whether or not they've been trained or they were once part of the ADF. Yes, absolutely, we want to destroy ISIL and Daesh and all of the people who are associated with any sort of terrorist element.
It's understood that around 90 Australians are fighting in the Middle East.
It is against the law for Australians to go across to particular parts of Syria and to participate in armed conflict. So we strongly advise people against that. And if people do have any information, they should provide it to the Australian Federal Police or to one of the intelligence agencies.
Around 80 Australians have had their passports revoked for fear that they would travel to the Middle East and be fighting on either side of this war. Dan Borscher, Sky News, Darwin.